Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Kashif Booth podcast. If you're new here, each week I sit down with a guest and we discuss their career so far, the highs and lows, and what's next for them. Today's guest is Kasey L. Martin. She is a director from, I don't even know. I know you live in Atlanta, but where are you originally from?
I'm originally from Virginia. Yeah.
Okay, Virginia. But
Yeah.
she's an ATL girly and also New York. I saw you was in New York as well, right?
Yeah, I lived in New York before I moved to Atlanta. So I was there for about
She's
5 years.
she's all over the place, but she's an amazing director. And welcome to the show, Kasey.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Very excited
Thanks
to
for
chat with you
coming on the
today.
show. Yes, thank you for coming on. I had Tao on a few weeks ago, and I was saying to him that obviously when I was like building season 4 in my mind of my podcast, I was like, okay, I have to get Tao and Kasey on, and here we are. So if you listen to my episode with Tao, then you know that Kasey, Tao, and Anita, who I'm most likely will have on the show as well, we all have developed this collective creative from this US UK kind of collaboration called
Mhm.
Drift, and we recently did our first film together, Fleeting Moments, in December last year. And what was it like for you, Kasey, working with people you've not met? Well, mainly me anyway. For that whole time, because I remember you reached out to me at the top of last year and we really just kind
Yeah.
of worked towards that right to the end. So what was that process like for you?
Honestly, I think the process was pretty smooth. Like you and
Hmm.
I, when we had our conversation that first time, I felt like there was like an instant connection. Like we understood like each other's voice and the work that we wanted to make, which was great. It just felt very easy and comfortable.
Hmm.
And you've had a lot of experience on set, so you were like a producer dad for me.
Okay.
You and Tal were very
Uh-huh.
helpful with the process, because that was my first narrative like project on like a set.
Hmm.
So, but it was good. It ran smoothly. I feel like a lot of the times the way I work is very like intuition focused. So it's not usually this much structure.
Hmm.
Um, but I feel like it went well. Like I still was like I feel like because we had so much prep, it wasn't really anything to worry about on set. Like things ran smoothly and I was still able to tap into just like my intuition a bit. So
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
great. I had a good time.
You're such a director. The way you were just like, oh, I tap into my intuition more. Yes, because a lot of directors are like that. Like I've worked with some directors where they're not ever even audition actors. They just like they see somebody, they want to
Mhm.
have a conversation with them, and then they're like, okay, I'm gonna give you the role. And I was like, okay, this is different to me, but it
Yeah.
does work. I think people know what works and what doesn't work. I'm a very much like a gut person as well. So
Yeah.
every time my guts told me, and I'm like, no, it's fine. Or you're trying to not judge people off like your first impression, it always goes to
Hmm.
crap. Always.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
honestly listen to your intuition. Because I remember you reaching out to me actually, because I was in Jamaica at the time. I remember,
Okay.
and you emailed me, and I was like, oh, okay. And I looked you, I was like, okay, she has amazing stuff. So I was like, okay, yeah,
Oh,
let's have a call. So I was like, when I get back, we'll have the conversation. I remember it was so good, so easy as well. And it was just such a small world that Anita, who wrote the script, I actually had met like a few years
yeah.
prior. And that was just like only because she was going viral on TikTok for a
Okay.
2000 nostalgias like exhibition she had done. So I was
Oh
like, oh, I
yeah.
want to go and see this. So I went and saw it. I went to network as well because I was like, okay, production designer, whatever. And that was it. And then next minute, so I always say to people that like, sometimes like I've met people and, or you've met online or whatever. And sometimes it's years later where you end up actually working together. And that's what happened there. So it was a
Yeah.
small world, but really good.
Small
And,
world. That's
yeah. And so
amazing
we
though.
decided
Like
to
I feel
produce
like
it.
it was
Uh-huh.
supposed to happen.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was. It
yeah.
was. It was because I think like even I remember like when you came over, I was like, so guys, let's have a cat. Let's just meet before we
Right.
start jumping into work. Because I was like, you just yeah, we've been chatting online for like a year, but let's vibe. Let's see what the vibe is, and we fit in like a glove, and it was great. You
Yes,
know,
I think
through
that's
all the
important.
craziness that what happened, we killed it, and I can't wait to share fleeting moments. So it's good, and more stuff we've got doing. So what kind of?
Yeah,
Because I know you came to the UK as well previously, so that's how you met Anita and your other friend. So I remember you had that like accountability group, and that's how fleeting moments kind of came out. So what
yeah,
brought
exactly.
you to the UK originally?
Yeah, so I came to the UK back in 2016, 2017, for my MA in filmmaking. So that's where I met Anita and Toyin, our other friend, and we clicked immediately as well. Um, and after we graduated, we started, well, actually, kind of recently, within the last couple of years, we started doing like accountability check-ins because we were loosely checking in before that, just seeing how everyone was doing and talking about our projects. But we like formalized it a couple of years ago. Um, and we were complaining about like, not being able to get the experiences that we wanted, and people want you to have this many credits before you can like get hired to do this and that. And I was just like, what if we just did it, like just did it ourselves? Let's all write something, put our names in a hat, pull out a name, and then whoever's script we get, that's who we're directing that project. So that's how Fleeting Moments was written. It was
Yeah,
birthed out of that
I think
experience,
that.
which was great. So we all
Mm.
wrote something. Toyan's going to be directing what I wrote. It's called Unlocked. She's going to be directing that in Nigeria, hopefully not this year, maybe next year. Yeah. Funding is always an issue.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And then Anita's going to be directing whatever Toyin wrote. So
Hmm.
yeah, I'm excited about that.
I think that's great. Like, I think it's good to have that kind of accountability, team, but also it helps you be creative and takes you out of your comfort zone as well. And I think it's great that you all trust each other to kind of
Hmm.
work on each other's projects as well.
Yeah,
And I think there's people don't speak about it enough, but there is such a thing as like creative soulmates, and like where
I like that.
you're just aligned. I say it a lot to people and they don't realize like when you could know somebody who can like read your work, get the vision, give you great constructive criticism or feedback on your work, and know how to take it to another level. That's great. I have that with one girl called Serafina. We've worked together quite a few times, and yeah, it's just every time I'm like, oh yeah, I get this. I get the audience. I get where you want to take this, and we're able
Right.
to just shoot, go together. And that's what you want when you have like a writer producer or even director producer relationship. And it's
Yeah.
so important because if they don't believe in the story, you're not gonna actually get to tell your story the way you want it to. You know,
Right.
energy is
Exactly.
a big thing, and people don't
Yeah, I be saying that
understand
all the
that.
time. Like I
Hmm.
like to move off energy. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't matter how many credits you have. If the energy isn't there, I'm not gonna want to work with you. But
Hmm.
on the flip side of that, if the energy is there and you don't have a lot of credits, I'm like, we could grow together, we could figure this out
Yeah,
because that's
because
important.
exactly, and that's what the industry doesn't do enough of. They don't take
Mhm.
enough risks on people. Just like what you guys were all complaining about, how you don't have enough experience here because people don't want to give you that experience. And
Yeah.
yes, I understand that you've got deadlines, all these people to answer to, whatever, but you can find a way to open that opportunity for people in a different aspect. They don't need to maybe be like the most senior person, but you
Yeah.
could do something. So that's
Yeah.
cool. Exactly.
Yeah.
So what
Figure
about
things.
Kingston? What about Kingston University? Why Kingston University to do your masters?
Well, there was a couple of reasons. The
Hmm.
main reason was finances.
Okay.
So all of the film programs in the US, they were at least 2 years and like triple the cost of whatever it was in the UK at the
Yes.
time.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was low key, I don't want to say I was lazy, but I like to get things done
Hmm.
quickly. If I could go
Hmm.
back, I probably would do this again and do a longer program, but I
Okay.
liked the fact that it was only a year.
Hmm.
And because it was only a year, I got to save money. And I also wanted to travel. I hadn't been outside of the US before that. So I was just itching to get out of the country and save some money in the
Hmm.
process. So
Wow. I
yeah.
love that. So you really kind of just put yourself out there. So you had never come to the UK, just was like, you know what, I'm going to apply, got in, and then came to the UK. So what was that culture shock like? Because I know it was.
It felt like it's so funny because
Hmm.
it felt like I was in a movie. Like when I would hear the accents on the bus, I'm like, it doesn't feel real. Because
Yeah. Hmm.
like British accents are used a lot in film. Like I hear it
Hmm.
a lot in film, so it just felt like I was in this surreal like
Hmm.
fantasy world. It was
Yeah.
cool though. Like I had a good time. I know people complain about the food or whatever, but I was a new vegetarian, and
Mhm.
when I came to the UK, I feel like it's a vegetarian's dream. There were so many options and everything was like healthy and the produce was pretty and nice and I
Yeah.
thought it was great. I
No,
had a great
yeah.
time. Yeah,
Good.
and it was so culturally diverse as well, which I wasn't expecting.
Hmm.
Um, because I hadn't lived in New York first, like before going. I'd only lived in Virginia, Hawaii, Baltimore. I think that's it. But
Hmm.
yeah, like the places that I was around, it wasn't as diverse as somewhere like London or New York. So I thought that
Hmm.
was awesome as well. And
Yeah.
and people don't like, the rain or whatever and the cloudiness, but it fit my mood at the time. I loved it. I was like, this is great. And it was
Hmm.
really a good backdrop for photography as well. So
Hmm.
I had a good time. I had a
Good.
really good time.
So
I
in
really
your
did.
masters, what did you specifically focus on? Like, was it film or directing or producing or editing?
So the good thing about the program is that it was a lot of different roles within production that we got to do. So we wrote, we directed, we did cinematography, we learned about lighting. So it was a lot of different things, which is why I was like, if I could do it again, I would choose a longer program because I feel like a lot was crammed into that year.
Okay.
And if I had like a second year, because once I finished that program, I just knew that I wanted to like be a cinematographer for some reason. So I think another year would have just helped me like maybe
Mhm.
hone in on other things as well. Because I
Okay.
probably didn't get as much experience doing
Hmm.
directing. I never wanted to be a director, to be honest with you.
Hmm.
Um, I kind of fell into editing at film school because I picked it up really quickly. I learned the software really quickly. So um, my little crew, I would edit our shorts and I would
Hmm.
shoot them as well. But I didn't have a desire to like direct for some reason. I
Yeah.
didn't have a good grasp of what it was, and I didn't realize that I
Mhm.
was already like kind of doing it.
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah.
um,
I
so I
understand.
didn't, yeah, I didn't have a good grasp of it. But
Hmm.
yeah, I originally went to film school to write. I thought I had this amazing script, and I was just gonna blow up from this script that was actually looking back really terrible. Um, but it's okay. Yeah.
Hmm.
So the goal for me was to edit after I got out of school so that I could save up to buy a camera package and then I'll just shoot all of my scripts.
Hmm.
I mean,
Hmm.
that's pretty much kind of directing, right? But I'm also holding
Yeah.
the camera as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think
Yeah.
if I had a longer program, I probably would have figured things out for myself a little earlier.
Okay.
But it's okay.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I understand. I understand because I've directed in the past, but it was like out of lack of budget. So I was like writing it, producing it, and directing. So I felt like I hated directing. I was like, I don't have a love for it. This is not my bag. Like, no, 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 no. And
Yeah.
I remember speaking to one of my friends, and I was saying to her, well, I visually can see things like shots and colors and lighting and
Yes.
all this stuff. And then I was like, yeah, and I'm very like, I think I said to you, like, I'm very into grading. Like, the color needs to be amazing. I need this, I need that. Like,
Mhm.
I will be there. And like, and then she was like, oh, but that's directing. You're a director. I said, no, I'm not a director. No, 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 no. I just can see it. She's like, no, that's directing.
That is.
But I still
Yeah,
have not
exactly.
directed anything. But it's like, I've never had the experience to enjoy it. So
Okay.
it's like I would need to like as a producer myself and knowing how to get things done, I don't need trust like a certain direct like producer to produce it because
Yeah.
I would So like, why is this not getting done? You know? And I recently worked on a project where we had that issue where you had an inexperienced director who was trying to produce, and it's like, girl, like, stop. You know, like you're not actually letting me do my job. And then
Yeah.
that's why loads of issues happened because you were trying to take over, and it's like, you need to be focusing on this, you know. And then we had like 20 shots to do in one day. It's like,
Oh gosh.
that, yeah,
That sounds
I
like
don't,
a lot.
yeah. I got paid to do that job. Do I think anyone will see it? No. Yeah. But anyway,
Kiddos.
yeah, it's one of those. So, like, before you did your master's degree, had you done any work within the film industry, or was it like after that, that's when you kind of jumped straight into it?
I would say sort of. So I was working in nonprofits before I went
Okay.
to film school, and I actually deferred my enrollment so that I could do. There was this AmeriCorps program where I was working at a psychiatric residential treatment facility for youth. I wanted to do that before I went because I had committed to it. And then I found out I got in, and I was like, oh my God, can I like defer this? And they were like, yes. So,
Yeah.
yes, I like to honor my commitments, but I was working in nonprofits, and at the time I applied, I was working at Big Brothers Big Sisters as a program coordinator, and my program director was also an author, and she wanted to turn one of her books, her novels, into a short film. So she came to me because I was doing a lot of shooting and editing and just artsy things for the company so that we could make pitch packages for like our funding. Um, so she asked me if I would be willing to shoot her short. And I was like,
Mhm.
yeah, of course. So
Mhm.
YouTube University figured out what to do with my little camera because I was into photography at the time.
Mhm.
So I had a DSLR, a Nikon D3200, old school.
Same. Listen, I had the Canon 3 C300, like a Canon
Oh yeah,
DSLR. Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Got a lot
yeah.
of
So you
brilliant
already
things on
know.
it. Okay.
Yeah, so I figured out how to like I knew I was gonna need stabilization, so I built like this PVC pipe rig. It was like really long. It was like 3 feet
Uh-huh.
by like 3 feet, and it was just ridiculous looking. But
Uh-huh.
yeah, I was on set and I was like, this is incredible. Like, I loved the feeling of it. I loved the energy. And I was like, I feel like I could do this forever. And then
Mhm.
shortly after that, I got my acceptance into Kingston, which is the only school that I applied to for
Wow.
filmmaking. Yeah, it was the only school I applied to, and I got in.
Mhm.
I don't even know why I don't know.
It was
Something
aligned.
said,
Okay. It was
yeah, like
aligned. That's what it
it was
is.
aligned. Yeah. It's
Mhm.
like I was watching some film. I can't even remember the film it was. And I was like, this seems interesting. I'd like to go study like how to be a filmmaker. I
Mhm.
applied to a school and I got in, and then the rest is history. Yeah.
I
So
love that. I love that. Look at you now. Okay. Getting into
it's funny.
Atlanta Film Festival, which is no easy feat, you know, swimming
Yeah.
pools, doing amazing.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
I mean, tell me about that film. You know, like, how did you come up with the concept? You know, what was it like experiencing the Atlanta Film Festival? Because I really want to go. And I was like, seeing you get in was such a proud moment. So tell me about swimming pools and like how that came about.
Yeah. So swimming holes.
Oh,
Um,
same.
that's okay.
I'm
Listen,
thinking of
everyone
Kendrick
calls it something
Lamar's
different.
swimming pool. That's why.
It's been called watering holes. It's been called swimming
Uh,
pools now. So I understand where the head is at.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, Swimming Holes is a film that I created as like a love letter to the women in my life who've passed away. It's something that I had wanted to do for a long time. I'm big on family.
Mhm,
And at the time of conceptualizing it, I was thinking a lot about my family members who have passed away and just thinking about how they're not in my life in the physical and how, I miss them and different ways that I could honor them in a way. So I knew I had a trip coming up to visit my best friend who lived in Hawaii, which is where we filmed it. Um, so I just started planning based on like who I had access to, which was my best friend and my wife. And then the location, which was my best friend's house, and then like the beach. So I was just thinking of like what I could make, and I came up with like a concept of these two sisters who had been estranged and they're reconnecting after the passing of their grandma. So I didn't use like a script. I outlined um the story, and I figured out what scenes I would need to make a story work. I gave my characters their background, and yeah, we just did a lot of improvisation. It was a lot of fun. It came out very beautifully. Very proud of it. And screening at the Atlanta Film Festival is like a dream come true. I love the Atlanta Film Festival. That's actually the first film festival that I ever went to. I volunteered back in 2015. Um, so it was nice to return, you know. I love it. I love the Atlanta Film
And with
Festival.
an award.
Yeah,
Yes.
we got a jury special mention
Mhm,
for the Georgia Short category, which is great. Very
mhm.
happy.
Very well. I hope to see it swimming holes. Okay.
Yes. You'll see it.
And I think that's great because I think it's great that you shared that you just literally did it off the whim in terms of like guerrilla style filmmaking, and you created
Mhm.
something so powerful what resonated with so many people and got into not just like a small little festival. Like Atlanta Film Festival is huge, you know,
Yeah.
that's huge. And so for you to be able to do that is great. It just kind of shows like once you have, you know, talent, but also, you know, just prep. Because, like you said, you still prepped as well. Some people feel
Yeah.
like they hear these stories and feel like, okay, well, oh, okay, well, I can just get my camera and do that. No, you still need to prep and do that. But you had the great resources around you. Because I was going to ask you, like, how did you fund it? But clearly, there was no budget. You know, you
Yeah, there
just,
was no budget. It was
yeah,
just I
you
did
just
have
did
to
what you
pay
had to
for like
do.
post.
Hmm.
Um, but I did most of the things. Like I shot it, I did the sound.
Hmm.
I did start to edit it, but then I brought on an editor because I felt like I was too close to everything.
Right.
Um, but yeah, I used like personal archival in it, like some of the audio bits are from my
Mhm.
actual family, and
Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, post I definitely paid money, but
Yeah,
you know,
but that's
well.
fine. I feel like that's, yeah, that's where you really have to spend the money. That's it. That's very
Yeah,
important because, you know, sound design, you know,
yeah,
grade, all that kind of stuff. Like it's very important. That's what makes or break a film. So
exactly.
I love it. From what I've seen anyway, I can't wait to see it. Hopefully you have
Thank
some
you.
UK, you know, you
Yeah,
know.
I applied to some stuff out there, so we'll
Well, let
see.
me know if you get into one, and if you can't come, I'll go.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure.
exactly. So I love
Absolutely.
that. That's really good. So how have you found navigating the space in film and TV as a black queer woman? You know, you're already like black women are already, you know, underrepresented behind the scenes, you know, and in front of the camera as well. But navigating that space as an openly queer black woman, how have you found that in the industry?
It's been interesting. It's been an interesting journey. I feel like most people see me as a black woman first, so there's already, you know, those I don't want to say restrictions, but there's definitely barriers to entry because of that,
Hmm.
right? Because I am a black woman. And then being queer on top of that, I find that I'm always worried that somebody's not going to want to work with me because of that. Like it's always constantly like coming out and
Yeah.
then fearing that someone's going to be like, oh no, like we don't want to
Hmm.
work with this person. And I feel like it does happen a lot. Like, and because
Hmm.
I'm so proud of who I am and I speak about it all the time, I feel like it's intimidating to some organizations or companies or
Hmm.
brands. But then on the flip side of that, there's been a lot of love as well. Like the people that are huge supporters of the different intersections of my identity really come forward and say, you know, we would love to work with you or we'd love to hire you to do this thing. So I think it's good and bad sometimes, but mostly it's been a good experience because I'm just like unapologetic about it. I'm just me, and if you don't want to work with me, then you don't want to work with me. And if you do, great. So,
Hmm.
yeah.
That's one of my favorite things about you. You are unapologetically who you are, you and your wife as well. And
Yeah.
that's what it is. Like, I always say to people, like, if you're not if you're saying you're rooting for black love and you're rooting for like a certain type of black love, then Yeah, I don't understand. Me, I love love, so especially black love, so it's everybody.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
and it's like I think navigating these spaces and like trying to create opportunities for yourself and live your life, it can just be a bit, it is difficult. And I think especially when you are not directed, but rejected from your own community as well, who you love so
Yes.
much, that can
That's where it gets
be
hard.
that's why it gets really hard because you're already fighting the white people and then you're fighting your
Exactly.
own people. It's like, well, damn,
It's like, where do
like
you go from here? It's like, dang. Because
exactly.
a lot of times in Black spaces, it's not queer friendly. So it's
No,
always that. And
Mhm.
it's just a
Yeah,
lot. It's just a
it is a
lot.
lot. But you're
But
doing
I
so
have
well.
faith that the right people, will find me and we will work together and the right spaces will turn up, you know?
Uh-huh.
So,
Uh-huh.
but it
There
is
is,
it is a challenge. It's
yeah,
always
yeah.
a challenge because it's like
Mhm.
you submit to certain festivals and you're like, I'm probably not gonna, this might be a little too gay for this audience. You know what I mean? Or,
Yeah, 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 yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I don't want my, like I just premiered something at New Fest Pride. Um, about my friend who is trans, and I'm like, I don't want him to be harmed if I show this at a certain festival. You know what I mean? Like, so I have to be very careful about where I submit and who is in the audience because you never know people's thoughts and what can come from that. Which is sad that you even have to think about that, but
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
it's usually in Black spaces.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
so
exactly. And so I think some people who aren't within like the LGBTQ community don't even realize that like how trans people within that community they are marginalized, And
yes,
so like even if it's like it's a queer festival that you debuted that film, he still could have been, a target of transphobia, which is
yeah.
insane.
Yeah,
Like
it is
it's
insane.
insane
Which
to say that.
definitely it's definitely a thing, but luckily New Fest, they're great. It was
Love that.
beautiful. I had an
Okay.
amazing time. It was
Mhm,
community, it was family, like
mhm.
so much support and so much love. So shout out to New Fest.
Love that. Love that. I'm happy to hear
Yeah.
that. And you've just been consistently working. I feel like there's a specific like style to the work that you produce, which obviously I enjoyed so much as well. And I love the points that you made in terms of like, where you're kind of nervous to like submit your films to like certain festivals or whatever. You don't know how it's going to be received. I think that's what kind of happened with the film that you saw that I did, which kind of made us connect, which was Sunday Dinner.
Yeah.
And the writer director of that is not even queer, but she just had this story in her mind as to what she wanted to tell. And that was like the brief that she was given. So it was like, okay,
Mhm.
well, this aligns perfectly. And the great thing about Sunday Dinner is that there's no like elephant in the room that she's queer. It's just literally, oh, she's just never, her family's going to scare off her girlfriend. They accept who she is. It's
Yeah,
fine. It's a typical kind of thing where it's like, yeah, we have like everyday situations, where we want to
exactly.
just take our family and like meet our partner, but you don't know how it's going to go. And,
Right.
it's on Amazon Prime. We loved that. But when we did submit it to festivals, we didn't really, it wasn't well received. We only got into one.
Wow. Oh wow.
Literally only one. That was it. Never got anything to anything else. And but people who
Yeah.
watch it love it. So it's just like
Yeah,
and that's not even on the nose. It's just literally a normal film. So it
exactly.
can be that. But with your style, I think I just love your style. Like, it kind of gives me kind of like, you should look up a guy called Gabriel Moses. I don't know if you've seen
Oh, I
his
know
work.
Gabriel Moses.
Yeah, like you remind me of a Gabriel Moses. Like, he has an
Oh
amazing
love.
exhibition on at the moment in the UK. You would love it. You would love it. And then you've got like people like Travis Scott, and you've got all these like amazing like there's Hannah Beekler, who's like a production designer for like Ryan Coogler and stuff. And you dip into so many different things in terms of like black art. And so, how would you describe your work? Like, who is Kasey
Oof.
as a filmmaker, director? Who is Kasey?
That's a great question. I feel like my work loves to center and speak on identity, authenticity. There's definitely a rawness and a tenderness to my work as well. Um, I love work. I love to produce work that's like visually poetic. So I would guess I would describe the overarching theme around the work is like poetic in a way, you know.
Yeah.
Very, very tender, but
Yeah.
also talking about real shit, like something that's gonna spark a conversation and have you thinking a little bit. So, but I don't like to be too like heavy-handed with like what I'm trying to say in a film. I want the audience to figure out for themselves like what that is. Like I'll present it, but I'm not gonna beat you over the head with it. It's just like something you could think about and pull out later and be like, that was interesting, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah. I like to present it in a way that's like not too intimidating.
Mhm. No, that's definitely your work. That's definitely your work. That's that describes your work to a T. So anybody watching or listening and you like that kind of stuff, go check out Casey's work. I think
Nice.
that's definitely you, and I think that's the best art form of storytelling because creating a conversation is so important,
Mhm.
but and leaving it up to the audience. I think sometimes those are the best type of films where it's like you're not spoon feeding the audience, what you want it to convey. You're presenting everything, then they can go and have a conversation about it. And then that's what real filmmakers do. They sit
Yeah.
down and talk about it and be like, oh, but there was this, and I wonder what that shot meant, or this little thing, because sometimes a good film will leave little plot holes, for
Right,
people to
yeah.
say, but wait a minute, there was that, and what does that mean? And that's what your work does. And we did that with Fleeting Moments as well. And I think
Yeah.
the great thing about Fleeting Moments, not to give too much away, is that like it feels like that short could be placed into anything, in terms of like a feature film or a TV show, or
Yeah.
whatever, because it could be placed in so many, and you don't know. And I can't wait for people to see it and see what their
Mm.
reaction to it is going to be, because I feel like especially people who move from like their home countries and come to like especially a Western country, are
Right.
going to relate to that story so much,
Yeah,
so
for sure.
much. When you were directing it, were you able to pull from like your experiences, I don't know, being in a foreign country, or when you've had to live in like different states as well?
Yeah, there's definitely an otherness that I had to tap into. I think we all feel that as Black people. We're a global family, so we have shared experiences. Like traveling while Black, it doesn't matter where you go. There's always going to be somebody
Yes.
staring or having judgment about you just because of the way you look. So it's a
Yes.
lot of that as well, that I had to tap into. But also this desire just for Black women to be together and experience joy, like to talk.
Mhm.
Like just because we
Mhm.
come from different cultural backgrounds doesn't mean that we don't have anything in common. And
Mhm.
just because we might have come from a different generation also doesn't mean that we can't learn from each other. So it's really just about that, just creating that Black female unity, because we're powerful when we're together, and that's the reason why they try to divide us in the first place, because they
Yes.
understand how
Yes.
powerful we can be when we unite. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. And you saying that made me realize like why we connected so easily when we had our first conversation, because there can be a lot of ignorance across the Black diaspora, and we don't
Yeah,
give a damn about that. Like we're all Black. It doesn't matter if we're
yeah,
British, American, whatever. It
exactly.
doesn't. Because I know your wife. She's Honduran descent
She's
as well.
Honduran.
I'm Jamaican descent. So it's like there's so
Hmm.
many layers to who we are as Black people as well. So it's like this
Yeah,
whole diaspora wars makes no sense. Who's got it worse in each country? Like,
right,
please, like,
right.
what are we actually doing? Could you imagine if white people actually see this? They'd be laughing at us.
But they
Like,
created it, so they know. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? They're the reason that we're doing this in the first place.
mhm, yeah.
So
Like, I really wish Black people would wake up, because you're literally arguing about who has it worse.
right,
Listen to the words that are coming out of your mouth. Like,
right,
come on now.
right. Yeah.
So, as a filmmaker, what would you say are like films that define you as a creative? Like other people's work, or like what are those? Like, who is Casey? Like, yeah, that's what I want to know. Because I think I have some ideas, but I want to see.
I gravitate toward Barry Jenkins.
I knew
Love
it.
Barry
I knew
Jenkins.
it. I knew it. I
I
knew it.
really I really, really like foreign films though as well. Like I love Wong Kar-wai a lot. Beautiful work. I love the visual storytelling that happens in his work. It's very unconventional. It's
Mm-hmm.
very poetic. It's very beautiful. I love how character driven his work is as well. Eric Romer, as well as a French director. Love. It's just like we're just in the world. We're just a fly on the wall looking into these people's worlds. I also really like Michael Haneke. I think that's how you say his name.
That name
He
sounds
did Funny
familiar. Yeah.
Games. He did Funny
Oh,
Games.
yes,
His
yes,
work is
yes.
very intense, but
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate it. It makes you think very critically, and the way he pulls performances out of his actors is really,
Mm-hmm.
really inspiring. Um, I could go on and on. There's a lot of directors that I love, but really love Barry Jenkins. I love Ava DuVernay as well because I love what she represents for the culture. I love like career wise, I feel like that's kind of a path that I'm on because she doesn't just stay in one particular genre, but her
Yeah.
voice still comes through with whatever she makes.
Mm-hmm.
That's goals. I also want a production company at some point. So, yeah, there's a lot, but
But that's a good mix. That's a good mix. I love
yeah.
putting people on the spot saying that good because it makes you think because you probably haven't even thought about it, you know? Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's so interesting. But I feel like
Mm-hmm.
those are the people that I often revisit.
Mm-hmm. I
Yeah.
love
But
that. I love that.
I just came across a lady, her name is Sarah Gomez. She's Afro-Cuban filmmaker. And I really love her doc work. Agnes Varda. Like there's a lot. There's a lot. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's good. See, people who are listening know those people, and so that's why they'll gravitate to your work. So,
Yeah.
speaking of, where can people find your work? What have you got coming up as well?
I mean, you can none of actually I just made a synonym for Art Roger J public. So you could look at that on Vimeo. But a lot of stuff is unreleased. Hopefully you'll see those things in festivals. Fingers crossed that we get into things.
Yes.
um, but yeah, I'm writing a lot of stuff. So I'm prepping. I'm prepping
Hmm.
for the major releases. So hopefully soon.
Yeah. Good, 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 good. I love
Yeah.
that. I love that. So, I mean, we have some great stuff coming too. As I said before, we've recently launched our collective, which is a US UK production company collective. We're going to be doing events and more films and stuff like that. Drift.
Yes.
And so, like, what's your thoughts on like that? Because we came together and we bonded so well, but now we're taking it to another level. Did you ever think that would happen? Like,
Honestly, I didn't think it would happen. I mean, I knew something like this would happen because I've
mhm,
been planting seeds with everyone that I come in
mhm.
contact with that I want
Yeah.
to have like a
Yeah.
collective. Like I want to
Yeah.
do retreats, I want to do events, like a whole all types of stuff. So I knew it would
Mhm.
happen, but I didn't think it would happen this fast.
Mhm.
But I've been praying on it, so
Mhm.
I feel
See?
like it
Mhm.
happened at the perfect timing when I met you and when we worked together, Danita and Tao, it just
Mhm.
fit. It just
Yeah.
felt right. So like I'm
Mhm.
excited for us.
Mhm. I
Fingers
am
crossed
too.
on funding.
Yeah. Come on, guys. Okay. I'm trying to go to Atlanta to do something. Okay. I've been to LA a
Yeah.
few times this year. So I need to, and I'm coming back down south actually very soon. I'm going to
Oh
be, because I'm
shoot.
doing a play. And because I'm doing the play what I've been working on for almost a year now, and we're doing
Okay.
another run, but in Memphis, where the writer's from. So I'm going to be in Memphis. So come see me.
Okay, I'll come see you. Wait, when does
Come-
that happen? Well, we get offline about it, but yeah, I'll come
yeah,
see you.
yeah. It's going to be late October. Late October.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Okay.
And yeah, so I think it's really cool. And I think what I love is that how you said that you prayed on it. I remember seeing years ago, like this girl saying, and I agree with it. If what you're praying for is aligned with what God has for the plan of your life, you have no reason to worry. And that's what happened. So there we go. There we go. So it's going to be fun to kind of develop more stuff as well. So
Yeah.
that's really good. So I'm excited. I'm excited. Well, Kasey, it's been great chatting to you and just knowing more your career and how you came about, and I'm excited
Yeah.
to see what we do together, what you're doing next as well. So where can people find you like on socials to see what you've been up to and yeah, just staying up to date with you.
Yeah, so I'm at Kasey L. Martin everywhere. KASEYLMARTIN. So check me out. Connect.
Mm.
Yay.
Yeah. And she means connect like everywhere. Okay, she's trying to always come back
Yes.
to London. So any London peeps, hit
Always.
her out. Always.
Always.
Exactly. Amazing. Well, thanks again, Kasey, for coming on the show.
Of course.
And yeah, we'll speak
Thank
soon. I
you.
know we're speaking very soon as well. So
Yeah, we're
yeah.
speaking next week. Top of next week.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah.
Yes, yes, yes.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, thanks
Yeah.
guys for listening. You can follow me all of my usual socials. You know them. There's a bunch of them. Stay tuned for episodes coming soon.